Welcome into the City Pigeons Podcast. I am Jesse Rendell, here as always with Mike Meech, Rock Matthews.
What up?
Today we have with us a special guest, a gentleman whose image graces billboards throughout the Philadelphia area as we speak. Jahmir Brown, what is up?
What's good with
How you doing, man?
Chilling, my G.
Yo, it's good to see you. Thanks so much for coming down.
Yeah.
What is it like
Happy
to
to be
see yourself on a billboard, man? That's got to be hype.
Bro, it's surreal. It's surreal, so surreal. I can't even give it too many words, honestly. To see that was the first time in 20 years of skateboarding I got to be emotional because of it.
I bet.
Emotional?
Yeah, I got emotional. My family was out there
That's what's up.
for the unveiling of it and everything, and
That's amazing.
for me it was just I don't know, I worked so hard to be here, and it was a dream when I was 6 years old. I never thought it happened.
Yeah,
I got to see it, and I was just
in your own city.
I just shook. I was oh snap! I don't even know how to feel right now. This is crazy.
Well, I was actually driving down 95, and I had seen that you had one in one of, I forget exactly where it was, in more of a neighborhood spot. But I'm driving down I-95. I got my son in the back. I'm like, yo, look at this. And I'm trying to take a picture and not crash. You know what I mean? As we do. That's brilliant. But I'm saying to my son, I'm like, that's Jahmir. We were just talking to him last month down at the skate park. And he's like, oh, what? Cool. And, maybe out in California or something, that's something that might happen every once in a while, somebody on a skate team being on a billboard, but certainly not in Philly, you know what I mean? And
It's definitely the first time I've seen that.
Yeah,
for sure.
really cool.
Yeah.
And, I know there's a lot of other athletes that, are on billboards and have signature shoes out there in Philadelphia.
You know the one I can remember? Do you remember when Jerry Stackhouse was with Fila?
Oh, yeah.
He was dunking on 95 and it said Philadelphia.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
my favorite billboard. But you remember that shit, and nobody will forget when you got a billboard.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
some legendary stuff right there.
That's why I was honored to even have that. You know. So
we got to
sick.
remember this guy's only 25 years old, you know what I mean? So Stackhouse, man, it's going way back. Iverson, though, right? When you were a young kid, you still remember AI, right?
Yeah, no, I used to. I went to a couple games when I was a kid, sitting in the high rapids.
Nosebleeds.
Yeah.
I got a question. The billboard, do they have one for like you're from Philly, right? You're obviously a city kid. Do they have the same kind of billboard for the other teammates in other cities?
I'm not sure.
Or am I going to see Jahmir over in Cleveland if I go out to Cleveland?
I mean, they did We Paste pretty much everywhere,
Okay.
and then I've also been involved with other sponsors.
Right,
so
right.
you might see billboards that We Paste in other cities, or
Okay.
I've done interviews for NBC, and you can see me in the airport. They'll just pop on the screen,
crazy. Oh,
huge
sick.
screen, just me.
Every
talking
time you
about,
see
things.
yourself, are you just still
I just kind of go like this, and just
It's
go get
almost
some
weird,
food,
right?
Just, I don't know,
You're not like, yo, check this out.
That's
That's
me.
me right there.
No, it's dope, but if people be yeah, that's you, I'm yeah, that's me, that's good, and
That's what's up.
then but I don't know, I'm not really the one to go out the way to be
Yeah,
that's me on the TV.
You're not standing underneath the sign take a picture.
Well, you gotta get
I'm not
one
ashamed
picture
of it.
with the
I'm just
sign.
I don't know, that's just a lot of attention. I'm just going, I'll go this way.
But
got you.
I want y'all to see me
Hey.
skate. I don't want y'all to see me in the airport.
Right.
Well deserved. And, these guys over here are some big sneakerheads. And we recently did an episode.
I see.
Yeah, you see them down there? So we recently did an episode all about sneakers and about these guys. They picked out some of their favorites. And so I wanted to ask these guys, is there anything cooler than having your own signature shoe? I mean, isn't that apex?
Yeah, that's the pinnacle of any athlete getting a single. And you look at it you look at Nike. They used to hand out signature shoes to a lot of guys. Now it's only 4 or 5 guys. I mean, it's rare.
Yeah.
They don't just give them out, and usually it's 3 or 4 years down the line. You don't get them coming out as a rookie anymore, unless you go with Puma, an up and coming somebody who's trying to spotlight those young guys. But for any athlete, getting a signature shoe is It's the pinnacle.
I feel like Meech, you might choose the signature shoe over like actual riches.
Yeah, I think
you
I would
would.
much rather have my own sneaker than.
I don't know about all that.
You don't know about that?
You can give me the paper.
Well, I mean, if you have your signature, if you have your
Right, then the
signature
paper
shoe, then
comes
the paper
with it.
comes. But like, at the same time, like, yo, it's nothing like seeing someone like wear your
Wearing your
shoes.
shoes.
and
Yeah,
then,
hell
like,
yeah, I'm sure.
And
man.
like knowing all the hard work that went into it, like you're like, whoa.
And you see when young kids wear your sneakers while they're skating, it's like a young basketball player wearing Jordans out there. It's the same exact thing, and it's got to feel incredible.
Like I'll never forget like my favorite skate shoes when I was a kid, like whose like signature it was,
Right.
all that, the colors.
Yeah.
What was it?
materials.
What was it? Just curious.
I mean, there was a few, but like the one specific that like I'll never forget because me and my homies got multiple pairs and then we'd like swap shoes because we were different skate stances. Is the Lucas Puig like Lakai, and
Okay.
I'll never forget it. We
Lakai,
had like the black front with the like purple back, and it had like a black Lakai logo.
Okay.
And it was so banging. Like
Don't you
know.
wish you saved all those? Like I think we all have.
Nah, them Jones was funky.
Yeah, well, you skated the hell out of them.
If you're skating them Jones every day,
Yeah.
they had to be decked.
Bro,
right?
we had like 3 pairs of them each, and I was goofy and he was regular. So if you know what that means, is that we like flick with different.
Yeah.
So when they would wear through, we would just swap the opposite. So then we would have 2 shoes with
that's
holes
great.
in
That's a
them.
good idea.
Yeah,
It's
Right?
crazy,
that's
boom, but at the end of
creative.
the
Is
day,
that
like-
like common or is that?
I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, at that
'Cause
time,
that's
like everyone in Philly was doing that. Like,
Uh-huh.
everyone amongst their like friend groups, because like ain't nobody have money to get shoes.
Right,
all the
right,
time.
yeah.
So
Right,
you
right,
just
right.
splurge when you had it, and then like figure it out.
When-
later.
when I
Or,
was
like,
growing
go to
up-
Ross or something like.
When I was growing up, I was just like that. I was super into all things
Swapping
skate.
shoes
Um,
with your homies?
and no, I wasn't swapping shoes. My shoes didn't get that banged up because I actually couldn't skate very well. I tried, but I was more into like having the cool shoe. And I remember I had Rob Dyrdek's like DC back in. I mean, this had to be like.
Remember which number?
Nah, I don't. It was real basic too. It was like a navy shoe, and I was just into all that. And then everybody started having different skate shoes coming out and Etnies and everything. Just kind of blew up. It was so cool.
Shout
we
out
happened.
Don Brown, damn, Etnies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Etnies put me on. I mean, not Etnies, S. So Don Brown hooked it up. I was like one of my first
Oh yeah.
taste of the industry.
There you
Do
go.
they still have the? I remember back in the day. I guess you probably weren't even born yet, but when we were in college, we were our early 20s. The big shoe that came out was the ES. It was the Costin, and
Yeah.
it was like.
I probably was born the same
Yeah,
year.
it was like a game changer. And I was like, I was skating a little bit with the homies back on Osage Avenue, and like, I was like, I gotta have those shoes, and I got them.
Definitely busting your ass.
But I remember like seeing that they came back out like not too long. They come out like some older Costins recently. And
So they tried to remake it from what I seen,
Mm-hmm.
like as much as they possibly could. I don't know why I don't say Costin, whatever. I don't know. But
Yeah.
it looked kind of like it. It's kind of sick. I
Right.
don't know. A lot of people like it. You see it
remember-
around the city sometimes.
So we happen to have a pair that you were nice enough to bring in. We want to get into this a little bit because
Yeah.
got these sneakerheads here, got this DC shoe co jaw there with the bulb on the back. Could you talk to me a little bit about how like making this shoe? What was that like for you? Like, are you out with those guys in California? You with them doing like design? How's it work?
I mean, so initially, like, I believe I just got like a phone call. We were talking about like a bunch of like business stuff, and they were like, "Yo, we want to give you a colorway," and I was like, "Where? Like, what are you thinking?" And they was like, "Yeah, we want to do this," and I was like, "Nah, I'm not really feeling that.
Yeah.
But how about this, that, and the third?" And they were
You're like, I appreciate
they were like,
this,
"Nah,
but let
like,
me
that's
give you some
dope."
ideas.
And they were like, "Yeah, that's dope. Like, let's do that." And I was like, "All right, I didn't think y'all be down. All right, let's cool that. Let's do that." And they were hyped right out the back. So within that week, they put me in touch with like one of the head designers at DC for the footwear, Mike Kubota, and we were just chatting through text message and email for like, I think, hold on, let me look it up real quick. I think it was like a year, 5 months, or a year, 8 months. Hold on.
so that was like a year and 8 months in development, huh?
Yeah. Hold on, I
Yeah,
got
these
this
things
joint.
take time.
I got this joint right here. Hold on, give
And
me
you know-
1 second.
This is
Yeah, 1 year, 8 months, and 5 days.
Damn,
Wow.
man, it's got
Wow.
it down to
And, like,
the hour.
Yeah, like literally, like it was amazing in the process. It was like annoying sometimes. It was like, that was my first time seeing that side of like business. I'm still new to all that stuff,
It's
so
not
like, I'm
easy.
just taking it all in. But
now, how many itinerations of the shoe was there before you came with the final?
I mean, I would
Or
like
did
to
you pretty
say
much nail
there
it?
was like, once we got an idea what I wanted and the materials I wanted, because I already had an idea of what I liked straight off the bat
Right.
when they were like, let's do a shoe. So in that week span, I had to think, like, I already figured it out. I wanted the new book. I wanted something to compensate the new book so that way it wouldn't look crazy. And then I wanted gum sole. I didn't know that I preferred a black sole at the time,
Right.
but I do like how the white turned
Yeah,
out to
the
be a little
contrast, so
cream.
that's good.
So like, and the black didn't turn out to be as black and like more like an asphalt. But I don't know. I really wanted it to be new book because it lasts the longest on the links.
Right.
And that's the shoe that I skate the most. So like,
Now, is that that's not a new model, is it? Is that?
nah, this is originally made in like, disregard my ignorance, but like 96 to like 98.
Yeah, I was gonna say it
around
has
that
like the
time.
older vibes of like the
But,
big
like,
chunkier skate shoe.
That's what me and my friends, I got first introduced to this shoe and I was like 13 or 12 by like one of my homies that brought me downtown. So ever since then, this has been like a staple.
Right.
But they didn't make it. You had to just know
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
that had
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
a brand new pair and you could just
Okay.
trade them like or give them like $100 some and like.
So did they revamp that shoe with your?
Ye-
Oh,
Well, originally it wasn't because of me. It was originally because like the guy who filmed us, this guy named Brian Pennebianco, and like he kind of like revamped the whole Philly scene, like
Right.
Gotcha.
just through his skating and the way his friends were doing it. Like everyone in the city and around the area kind of clung to like Philly because of what he was doing.
right.
And
Yeah.
him and his homies, you know.
That's
so,
that's
like,
interesting. I mean, I definitely wanted to ask you about that because, you know, there was obviously a couple different waves of this kind of, I don't call it the vibe, but the style. Back in the 90s, it was a big thing. You know, baggier clothes, bigger shoes, you know, that whole vibe. DC was like super involved with everything that was going on in Philly. Guy like you, born in what, 96? I get that right? 1996. So like you're downtown skating probably more around 2010, 2011,
I started
2012.
skating 2003.
Okay, right. But in
But,
terms
like-
of when you're getting down into that scene, right, and then there's like this rebirth of that whole like style of skating, and then I was really interested to see in your mind like how that has kind of happened and how that has grown outside of Philly, right? Like so that second wave of kind of the retro vibe, because you know for a while it was like the skinny jeans and like all the like you know.
Well, I mean, Philly got hit with that too, but at the same time, like that was only like kind of my generation, and we grew out of it because everyone that was older than us was still wearing that. Like before, when we first started coming downtown, we was wearing big baggy stuff because we was all from the hood,
Right.
Or you was from the suburbs trying to fit in, so like
Yeah.
nobody wouldn't rob you.
Right.
And that's just how it was still like that. And we just started wanting to be different because we got tired of being called white boys, so we just started wearing skinny jeans because what we liked, and we stopped trying to hide it.
Right.
Like, all right, whatever. Like, bro, I like Chris Cole. I don't care. Like, you, what? I'm still beat your ass right now. Like, I'm just trying to skate. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what it came to. And then eventually, like, we got to figure out, like, all right, Chris Cole definitely not like me. I'm more like X, Y, and Z. Like, and I feel comfortable wearing that because that's where I'm from. So
Right,
I'm gonna
right,
start
yeah.
wearing
Yeah.
big clothes again and like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
so-
like that's me. Like I'm not about to keep trying to fit in with something that I don't relate to.
I gotta
That's
imagine like
perfect.
skating in like skinny jeans and shit. That can't be all that comfortable, right?
Yeah.
You
So
know
by
what
the
I mean?
time like I was like 16,
the-
17, me and all my homies was trying to get these and
But
you
that's
know
the- that's
really
the
get
great
back
thing
into
about-
like our roots and
About
like where we came
skateboarding
from.
culture is they create the trends. You decide what's cool, pretty much, and everybody.
Unintentionally.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, you just do it, and then it becomes a trend because just by nature, skateboarders are, you know, the in the forefront of not just fashion, culture, music. Like you want to find out what's cool, go hang with a bunch of skateboarders, and you know you'll figure out what the cool shit is that not everybody else knows about. You know
And
what I
that was
mean?
funny
And it's
to
been
me.
like that forever.
Yeah, talking to you, Meech, I was like,
Because listen, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I was never. I can't skate. I can't do anything where you attach something to the bottom of my feet. I can't roller skate. I can't
gotta walk.
surf. I can't. My feet have to be attached to the ground. Listen, it's a curse. I wish I wasn't like that, but I can't do it. But I always love the skateboarding culture, which makes me like the ultimate poser, I guess, is the term for a guy like me.
Nah, I mean,
But
I wouldn't say that.
I mean,
You can
it's
just appreciate
definitely
the culture,
Yeah.
man. You just appreciate the culture.
But I'm
you
not
know
a
what I mean?
skater,
Right.
so
So what?
if a
He feels like
You're
a
not
skater
rapper, are you?
sees me,
You a
Now-
rapper?
if a
No, no,
legit
difference
skater
is-
sees me, they'd be like, he's a fucking poser.
Now,
Which
now,
I
if you
get,
come up
but-
to the plaza with your phone out, like, yeah, do this, then the
Right,
third.
right, yeah.
It's one thing, but if you come up and you're just like, hey, man, like, I don't really know nothing, but like, I'm interested. Like, I'm hyped on this joint. Like,
Yeah.
what's this? Like, I'm trying to see.
So
something.
you
Like,
feel like a bit
it's
of
a
a
different vibe. Like,
Right.
I don't know.
Meech, you feel like a bit of a fraud. I get it. I was actually surprised when we first started talking about this kind of stuff. You know, I was telling you about Nocturnal, right? Because Meech is like hardcore Philly sports fan, dyed in the wool. And when the Sixers put out the City Edition uniforms, which was like the Spectrum retro vibe, you might remember Nocturnal did like a little kind of like play on that for some of their own gear that was based around that same thing. So I said to Meech, hey, you got to check this out. You would love this. He said, oh, I already follow that. That's dope. I'm like, how do you know anything about like skateboarding? But this guy, you know, he stays on top of all the trends. He's got a lot of
And
respect.
plus, I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
There you
That's how I got into
Yeah.
it. So I feel you.
Well, that's how half the people found out that Love Park was, you know, like a popular place to skate. You
Same.
know?
That's how I knew.
And I think I saw a video of you talking about you got into skateboarding through video games. Is that true?
Yeah, like I was a video game nerd and I played a lot of Star Wars and stuff. And it was like games got expensive that year, so they was like $60. So I bought a brand new game. I beat it in like 10 hours. I brought it back the next day and got my full refund and got like 4 used video games in a stack. And amongst it was Tony Hawk Pro Skater, SX Tricky, FIFA, and something else. So I started playing soccer. I started bowling. I started skating.
great.
And I
You got
couldn't
good at
snowboard
all
because
those
there's
things.
no mountain and I ain't got that much money to get to one. So
Yeah.
it was all of the others, and that's what I started doing. And once I started skating, it was like I'm cool of everything else. I just want to skate, and I was like 6. And then I realized love was in my city because it kept saying Philly.
Right.
And then I realized that like from the other side of Bartram Village Projects, I could see the
Just a
same
glimmer.
silhouette,
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
like, wait a minute, it's right there. And I started sneaking out.
Uh-huh.
You know?
And that
And that's when I started going
But,
downtown.
like now you think of something like that, and what if you never beat this game in 10 hours? And you never went to the video game store and traded them in for these
Right.
4 used games? Like just something like that could spark an interest in skate. It's crazy to
Yeah.
think about it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure with the talent and everything, it would have came out eventually. But to have
That's the only hope, you know.
yeah,
You
that's
never
how,
know.
That's how it starts, man. You just never know when it's going to hit you.
And I'm real interested in, you know, you talked about kind of discovering Love Park. And, you know, what I'd love to know is what was that like for you to kind of experience for the first time and kind of like what time that was? Because as you know, there's been different time periods where, you know, you couldn't skate there, you could, they're running you off, they're beating people up, then they're kind of turning a blind eye from time to time. I mean,
Well, I mean, like at first, my first time going down there was at night, and then I was like, oh, I could come here during the day. Went there during the day, and like everyone was, it was like 300 skateboarders. It was amazing, and I was like, this is where I need to be. And I like literally just tried to go there the next day or the same night, and I ended up breaking my shoulder. So it was like this.
You said breaking your shoulder?
Yeah. And I
Your
was like,
first time down there?
Basically the first time down there because I went the
I got a
night
similar
before
story.
and went home so I didn't get in trouble because I snuck downtown.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
supposed to be downtown. I was like 8 years old.
Yeah.
Whatever. Got home, whatever, and I'm like, all right, I could do it tomorrow. Like went during the day, and I was like, all right, I'll come back at night and skate because the cops kept coming. We had like, I was like running with everybody, and it was like
Right.
the best thing ever. Like I'm with
That's
two
an
homies
adrenaline
from
rush.
the hood that don't skate. They just
Yeah.
like wanted to come with me because they older and they wanted to make sure I was cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why I was like, can y'all come with
That's
me?
what's up.
And like they was hyped on it.
Yeah,
So they was running from the cops with me with the bikes, and like everybody was hyped.
I was down there in my college years. I was running with the skateboarders a little bit in my college years, and I was skating over at City Hall building, and I tried a little something off of just a little couple steps, and I ended up tweaking my ankle like bad. Like
Off the 3-stair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did too. I tried to crook the 3-stair trash can, the
At
pink
City
trash
Hall?
can. No, at Love.
no, I was at City Hall.
See,
yeah.
but basically the same
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
though.
yeah,
I-
except Raj wasn't trying to crook anything.
Yeah,
He was just trying to like get
doing
down the
like
stairs.
like a nollie over some steps. And
A
ended up-
nollie?
Yeah.
You mean a nollie? I don't think you were doing a
I
nollie,
was
but it
not.
doesn't matter. It
Any-
doesn't matter.
Either way, let's
Doesn't
not
matter.
get into specifics. I busted my ankle. My ankle swollen to the size of a freaking softball.
Oof.
And I'm just sitting there over at Love Park, just watching the homies skate around. And the cops came around, And, like, it's like a tight community. So my homies didn't just leave me. They made sure that I was good. You know what I mean?
Did they pick you up on their back like
Nah,
a
but,
wounded soldier?
One of my good friends, like, Macias. Like,
Yeah.
shout out Jason Macias. He made sure that I was cool. He got me into the back of his little hatchback at the time and made sure that we were cool. And that's like...
Leave no man behind.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like the skate community. I feel like everybody's all together. You know what I mean?
I actually read a story that you were down at Love Park one night and Lil Wayne came through after a Philly tour.
That was crazy.
Oh, wait. We got to hear that.
Say,
We got to hear this
That
story.
was crazy. Nah, we was basically down there. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was like a mid-teenager at this point. And my homie Tony, like, like, I just saw Lil Wayne. I was on his tour bus. Like, he about to come here. And we like, man, stop lying. Like, whatever. And lo and behold, like, 10, 15 minutes later, here come Lil Wayne and his posse, this famous joint that he talking to at the time, and like, I don't know, like, it really happened, and he came through and skated, came up to us and was like, yeah, y'all cool, like, his security guards was like, yeah, y'all can talk to Wayne, y'all cool, like, nobody else, like, in the
That's
park,
what's
like,
up. Wow.
But it was barely any people there. It was just like us, homeless people, and people selling drugs. So it was like,
Yeah.
it's literally just like people just like trying to spaz after like 20 minutes. He's
Some
skating
shit like,
around.
did that really just happen?
And he's just skating around. And I watched Wayne do tricks at Love, and I was like, wow, this is like crazy.
That's
like,
crazy.
I
But
couldn't believe
I could
it.
see him on
Like,
the
I
tour
really couldn't
bus,
believe
just
it.
like, listen, before I leave here, you got to take me down. I got to skate.
And he was
down.
like, yeah, like, this shit hard, but like it's all right, but like this shit ass because I can't skate it.
Right.
And then I think it was just too dark, and like if he got to see like everything, like he probably would have skated more. But like everybody started bum rushing, like his security was spazzing, like trying to fight. So they just left, and like I don't know, it was cool to see that though. That was a surreal moment too.
Yeah.
So I think somebody like Lil Wayne is a good little transition because, like you said, did you grow up in Bartram Village?
I grew up right across the street, but basically like I hung out over there all the time. So
Okay.
like, same shit.
So now when you were growing up and you started skating, like how did people look at you? Like, like you don't see too much skating in the hood, you know what I mean?
They looked at me like an outsider, like crazy, but they knew my family, so like no one messed with me too crazy, but like people still mess with me. Like, I don't know, we're not gonna go into the crazy details, but like I got called white boy and people tried to bully me, let's say that, for,
Right.
But you stuck
people,
with it.
yeah, and
Now
I
you're on
just,
a
like,
billboard.
and I just was like,
Feel that.
Like, at the end of the day, I was like, I'm just trying to be me. Like,
Yeah.
and then like as I got older, like those same people would be like, nah, like glad you stuck with it, like this, that, and the third.
Right.
You know, that's even like years ago, like
Yeah.
before everything happened. So
Now-
like, people was like weird about it because it was new to them. But
Right.
like once they got to see me like being myself and like doing all that, people accepted it. And eventually people would be like, young boy, go home, it's about to get crazy out. Because like we really just trying to ride the skateboard. And
Go ahead,
like
just do your thing.
eventually like it got to that, and like, like everybody in the neighborhood and like knew that I was just a skateboard kid.
Right.
like
Right.
like that was what that was.
But people
like,
did bother you. Now I
At
don't know.
first, yeah, but eventually with time they just was like, oh, that's just the kid that skate. Like,
Yeah. Now I
Don't
don't know how
fuck with
things are now, like with people like Lil Wayne, like making things a little bit more mainstream. But is it still kind of the same, like, stereotype towards that?
I mean,
in the
at
hood
that
a little
time,
bit?
it was still like Wayne started skating, so that's when people kind of accepted it.
Yeah.
I think Pharrell probably had a lot to do with
That and the other boy who made that music video, Kick Push.
Kick Push.
Lupe
Fiasco.
Yeah, him too. So people used to call me Lupe and all that. And then I broke my arm. They was like, "That's what you get, little Lupe." Like, what you was doing, like beating your meat. And you broke your arm. So I was in the cast, and like I don't know, the hood had all
It's the
kinds of
only
jokes.
thing they could compare you to.
The hood had all kinds of jokes, but back then I was just like, all right, whatever. Like, you don't understand what I was trying, but like,
Right,
whatever.
yeah.
Like, it didn't really faze me. I was just like annoyed. I was just like, all right, y'all got jokes. Ha ha.
I
So
just think-
it's interesting. It's interesting to me that we talk a lot about sports generally, right? Like we're all big sports fans, and that's kind of part of the theme of the podcast. But looking at what like it takes to get to the point where you have a viable skateboarding career, to me, as compared to other sports, like I just think that is so hard to do, right? There's so few opportunities. There's no path for it, right? You can't go to like high school, be on a team, and go to
There's
college.
not 30 skate teams. Where
Yeah,
you can,
I mean,
get
it's just like
drafted into-
it's very
you
like
just
and,
gotta
and looking at
stand
you
out.
and all the things you've done with the different companies that you're affiliated with. It's very entrepreneurial, right? Like you got to figure out how, I don't want to say like play the game, but you got to be smart. You got to hustle. Like you got to do
I mean, you got to
certain
know
things.
some sort of business mindset. You have to know some kind of marketing strategy. You have to know what your interests are 5-10 years from now. You have to know everything that you want to do, and you have to have people that you can trust around you
Yep.
to help
Yeah.
you. And even if you don't know that, you just have to like try.
Well,
You just gotta try.
Yeah. You
at the
gotta
end of the
grind,
day.
right?
And
Gotta
like
take
I
some
come
risks,
from a
right?
city where
Yeah.
at the time, like it had like valuable resources at one point. But in my coming of age in skateboarding, like no one cared about Philly. Everyone
Right.
was scared of Philly.
Right.
And no one wanted to be here unless they were coming to do one thing and leave.
Yeah.
Right.
And
What,
no
that was
one
just go
knew
to
they
Love
were
Park
here
and
until
chill
it
out?
came out.
Right.
Whether it was skateboarding or music or whatever. No one knew they were here until it was out.
Right.
No one wanted to be here and be in public. It was
Is it
too
because
sketchy.
it's too intimidating? you
I
think?
guess at that point, that's what I don't know. People like to say from what like.
But I think that's a.
But for me, it was normalized.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Like,
Like,
I didn't see
this
it no
is just-
different.
yeah, it's-
So like, but to outsiders, like that's what I've heard. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Sounds
no,
familiar. It's
you
like-
know, this person is sketchy, and I'm like, oh, that's a generous guy. like I'm not saying he's
helped me.
perfect, but like he's dope. Like or like that lady's crazy, but yeah, she's
Right.
but she's cool.
it's the same thing as like the.
It's just when you're not here and you don't see it and you're not
Yeah, it's
exposed
like-
to what we've been exposed to, like.
And I think
It's just like it's a
Philly
different
as
vibe,
a,
you know?
just as a culture is much more accepting of our own than we are to outsiders.
Yeah, true.
We aren't usually too kind to outsiders.
And to us, it literally just got to, us being raised by them same people and being like, look,
True.
Yeah.
if y'all do this, don't do this, don't
Right.
do that. Like, be better people, do this. Like, teach us not only how to be better lively adults, but like at the same time, like live a better like full life and like
absolutely.
It's kind of like the Chicago
be happy
thing,
and
right?
literally just like don't make the same mistakes they made and like
Right.
don't go down that path. Like, hey, if you're gonna do that, have fun, do this. Not hold nobody back from learning something the hard way, but like letting them know this is what's gonna happen and like
Yeah.
just laying everything
Yeah,
out.
preparing them, man.
And just like we have people like that in the streets and at home. Like not all of us at home, but like some people in the streets and like. At the same time, we were surrounded by people that we like to call us thorough.
Yeah,
Like
right.
they cared about us, and like they wasn't just some old head that would just put us on the block to trap for them. And like
Yeah.
some people have to do that. I'm not gonna take that away from people.
Yeah, yeah.
But the people that we was around and the things that we was into, they saw something that we could do, so they was like, "That's not for you.
Yeah,
Put it on this
protect.
path."
I mean, we gonna
Some
protect
people that's
the
for
mirror.
it, and
Yeah.
I can't speak on that.
Right.
But like. That wasn't for me, and the skateboard was for me, and people saw that,
Yeah.
so they guided me toward that.
Yeah, I think it worked
And
out
like
for you.
you know,
pretty
for me, I'm thankful that I had people like that,
Yeah.
in a time like that, because when it was our time, and people did start to recognize what me and my friends were doing, everyone in Philly, as a collective, we knew how to act.
Yeah.
And we knew how to like be like, yo, like, all right, cool, like come to Philly, and you can see some shit, but
Right,
like,
You might see something, but we gonna take care of you. Don't worry.
yeah,
about
like
it.
don't stress, but like, just vibe with me, just
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
just trust me. Like, don't just listen to what I gotta say, and if I say don't do something, please don't do it.
So it's come like way farther than that, right? At first, I'm sure these people who were giving you a hard time in your neighborhood are like, well, this guy's doing some stuff, this is pretty cool. Now, I think you're traveling in ways you probably never imagined, right?
No,
Like
that and the reaction of the whole city has just been amazing. Like, I never thought people would like respond to that in the way that they did, and just like everyone, I don't know. I walk down the street and I toot my own horn. People like get excited to be like, oh, that's the kid on
Yeah,
the billboard,
yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's me. Like, and it feels like heartwarming. Like, damn, people in my city recognize that like I'm doing something with my skateboard. Like,
Yeah.
I told y'all so.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And a small part
Like,
of me,
prove
but at the
them
same
wrong.
time, is like
Right.
not proving wrong, but like I
did
told
it.
y'all I
I
was gonna
did,
do
yeah.
it, and I
Yeah.
still don't believe I did it. Like I'm just like, wow, like wow, like a skateboard really did this for me.
the
And,
old
like,
head on the block
people
was probably
respect me
like,
for skateboarding,
I
not for
told
being a
y'all.
rapper,
Yeah,
not
right.
for doing anything cool, but because I was a weirdo. Like, let's not get it mistaken. I ride a skateboard, I fall 1,000 times a day, and
Yeah.
I come home dirtier every day.
Listen,
and,
some
like,
of the world's
have
best
to
people
clean
are
up.
weirdos. Man, look at
And
Elon
like,
Musk. Right?
yeah,
He's
I
a
don't know.
weirdo.
Like, I just like, I don't know. I worry about my skateboard, and my friends. I ain't worrying about nobody else.
Right.
So like,
Right.
That's a good
to
mentality
be
have,
here
man.
and have that response is amazing to me because I never thought it would happen. I'm just like, I'm just the weird kid from Southwest Philly that wants to ride a skateboard, right? Like,
And it's got to
that's
be
me.
pretty cool to put your friends.
But it's
on,
cool
too,
because,
right?
it's dope. It's amazing. And, like, I don't know. I feel like so many people have come to me and been inspired. And, like,
That's what's up.
not only have I inspired them, my friends have inspired them. And, like, all of us have done it together. We always stood by this quote, dream is the team and the team is the dream. And, like, we always clung together, and we still stick together like soldiers and brothers. Like,
That's what's up.
like we just like rely on each other, like on the good and the bad days. Like we all support each other.
Now, when you go back to where you grew up, do people like run up like little kids like, oh, Jahmir,
I mean, I'm not really. I haven't lived around there since I was a little kid because I moved from Southwest when I was 13 to West, and then I really just stayed around there. And like I went back and forth a little bit, but like it started changing a lot because like gentrification.
Yeah.
So I like all the people I really knew wasn't there no more. So I just like, stopped going back.
Yeah.
But at what point did you actually start traveling? Because I've seen you've gone to so many cool places. You skated so many cool places. Were you just like starting to kind of trip out at like the places that you end up going?
I mean, traveling, like I would say it was like 6-7 years ago because I think I started working at Nocturnal when I was 18. And for the first couple months, I still was living at home because I just graduated high school. So I saved up some money, and then I moved out. And I lived down North Philly for a little bit. And from that time, I used that money that I had saved up, and I went on, like, 3 trips to California. And somehow, like, in that time, I also had new Tom Master. So I was like, yo, what's up with some shoes from S? And I got a box the next couple of days, and I told Kelly I was coming out in the spring. He's like, you can stay with me. So that was like my first like real trip, and that was like 6 years ago. And stayed with him, skated, like stayed on the 9 Club set, literally like on the other side of the wall, and just slept on the couch for weeks, like 2 weeks I think it was, and then like came home. That was a good experience. And then did it again, got on DGK, stayed at DGK house in Hollywood. And then, like, stay on the floor there. That was cool. And then I just kept doing that for a little bit. Just kept going to L.A. in the wintertime. And it was cool for a minute. And I was just like, I don't like this anymore. Like, I don't like L.A. Like, I'm kind of burnt out on it. I'm cool.
Very different than Philadelphia.
And then I just, like, I don't know. Like, I got to meet people, like, that I started to become friends with over the years. But back then, at that time, I didn't really enjoy it too much.
And what about the international stuff? Because I seen, like,
that was, like, 4 years ago. And the first trip ever was, like, 2 days after New Year's. Penny pretty much on the 2nd of January. Let's just say it was 2020. Yep, January 2nd, 2020.
Got it in right before COVID.
Penny texted me. It was like, yo, you want to go to Italy in 2 days? And I was like, you serious? He was like,
you got a passport?
And he's like, nah, I'm just joking with you. And I was like, all right. And he's like, nah, but like real shit, you want to go? And I was like, well, I only got $200, so I don't know how I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, nah, I got you. Like, don't worry about that. And I was like, all right, bet. Like, you sure? And he was like, yeah, like, I got you a ticket. Like, don't worry about it.
All right.
And I was like, all right. So, ended up going to Milan for 13 days, and it was like amazing. The first second I got off the plane, it was just like, this is the best place ever. Like, I love this. This is great. And like, I started speaking Italian, like, a little bit, like, started, like, getting comfortable with the city. Got to know a bunch of people, was vibing, like.
How long were you out there for to start speaking Italian?
13 days, but, like, I really submerged myself.
Yeah,
I didn't want to wait for nobody to go to the store. I was going to the store and just Google Translate. And after day 5.
I don't think that's Italian.
And then, like, yo, real rap, bro, they didn't even want to speak English to me in the market. So, like, I like that market. I was going there every day, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to learn how to speak at least, like, 3 sentences. So, like, they going to take me serious.
Right.
And, like, and it's respectful because I'm in you know what I'm saying? I'm in
you're in the spot.
Like, they came here, they be forced to learn this shit. So, like, let me go over there with some respect.
Yeah, that's cool.
By day 5, I was speaking something. And the lady was like, "Oh my God, you're learning! We're so proud of you!" And the whole story like started clapping, and then I was like, "You motherfuckers!" You didn't know English. And then we all started laughing. I was like, "Yeah, I just wanted to try." And it was like, "Nah, we appreciate it."
So it's like little experiences like that opened your like your little small Philadelphia, United States mind to the world, right? So like, what other kind of good experience have you had? Like, where else other than Italy? Like, what's your favorite spot you've been to?
You're big on London,
From there,
right?
I become like really good friends with this guy, David. And he was like translating a lot for us, but he's also a really good skateboarder. He ended up going to college in London as I got on a new board sponsor, and they're from London.
Pals,
yeah,
right?
So I started going out there, and we were hanging out there, and like everything about Palace, and like having like other homies there, and you know, just having like a really like strong foundation already out there. Like everyone kind of like just brought me in with open arms, and like the whole city just kind of like
I didn't
was like, oh, who's this kid on the block? Who's this new kid?
Yeah.
And then it was just like popping. Like everywhere I go, people's eyes like, who's this American guy? Especially because no one's seen no one for like over a year. Cause it's
they're like,
COVID shit.
everybody's
Like,
and I didn't know much about Palace. You know, I just kind of assumed it was another skate brand. But Meech again educated me, told me that, you know, it's kind of got a unique. It's more like of a European thing. Am I getting that right?
it's a skateboard company.
No,
they make boards, but they also just have like
They got
a really strong
sickest
backing with
gear
clothes.
and
right. So it's
accessories.
a lot fashion based. Right.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I would equate it to like what Supreme was maybe 15 years ago in America is what Palace is now.
I mean, on the fashion side of things, I don't really know all that much. I just skate. I don't even stick to
But
board.
I'm sure
But,
you
like,
get sent
I
a
know
nice
those
big
guys.
package with all the gear.
Oh yeah, all the time. Like those guys keep me sharp, and
Yeah.
like it's great being over there. I don't know, but like for me, I just like to be a part of it. I don't
Right,
really
yeah.
know too much about all the extra. They don't even care to unless we care to be involved. They're just like, just
Yeah,
skate.
just
we got
skate,
you. Like
right.
we'll tell you everything if you ask.
How did that
But, it's
relationship
better
even
not to
come
know.
about?
Yeah.
Cause then it's like, oh, this drop. Like someone will come up to me like, oh, like yo, that hoodie's from what drop? And I'm like,
I don't know. They sent it
I'm
to me.
just
Like,
sorry.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I really don't
dropped it in
know.
my mailbox.
Yeah, like, and even to me, like some people care about that, and
Yeah,
that's
some
cool.
people- it's
but
a,
I just don't follow it.
Right, yeah.
And I don't. Unfortunately, like I don't have the knowledge, and I do skate for the company.
Yeah.
But it's like, bro, I just wear it and try to like be myself. I don't know. They just like what
Yeah,
I do.
they don't ask me to become a.
Yeah,
to
they're not like,
find out how to
John,
get
here's
the
all the
drop.
knowledge,
Yeah.
and here's this, and make sure they know
And
you.
make sure you tell all your fans.
Right, like I'm like, bro, like
Yeah,
those
just
guys
send
are
me a-
cool enough.
yeah.
They got it handled.
Yeah, right.
So I'm
Yeah.
curious, you know, going to these places, you know, you've been all over the world and you're bringing with you kind of that like Philly skate vibe with you that's very unique. And I wonder, are there particular areas where people are like really embracing that and it's creating like, you know, kind of a movement there where like the DC stuff is really big and people are,
I mean, the whole world.
yeah, but now it's
the
back,
whole world. The whole world is literally like. I'm not gonna say we have like the strongest support and say why like we're not the reasons why. These kids have been doing it,
Right.
just like we've been doing it, but we just happen to like have a strong exposure to where like they can be like, oh, I do that same shit.
Right.
Just like how we related to the old videos, I'm sure they was watching the old videos too.
Right.
Now they got something to relate to on the big screen because like it's few far in between you see someone skate like us, and now you see it more often, and it's banging because like you might see someone come out with a part that you're just not interested in. And not to say they're not good, because they're probably amazing, probably better than me by a long shot. I'm just not interested. It doesn't make me want to go skate.
Yeah.
And you know, like there's just a lot of people that skate the way we do, and that's fortunately why we have skate careers, because they support what we do because they skate similar or like they're interested.
Well, and it's
you
funny
know?
to me, like I've seen this, you know, over the past, I don't know, 15, 20 years of living in Philly, kind of post what was happening at Love Park in the heyday. There is just such an emotional connection with certain people that grew up in that era that like that was skating, you know, skateboarding to them, plaza style, East Coast street, you know, run from the cops.
And
the
again, not
whole
to take
thing.
away from nobody else. That's just what we had and what we saw and what we were influenced by, and like that's what we like.
Yeah.
And not to say you out there running from the cops, but like style goes a long way, and not everybody's style is what you like. Not every single sip of wine you're gonna like. Not every sip of cheese you're gonna like.
Who was your big influences when you were coming up? Like who was?
I mean, they're random. Like definitely like Chris Cole, Brent Ashley, Terry Kennedy, Daryl Stanton. Like.
Was Terry Kennedy that dude that was like the wild dude from like Compton kind of dude? Yeah.
But he wasn't even from Compton, I don't think. That was just like some jackass stuff, like
Yeah,
Compton
those
ass
are some-
Terry.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think he's actually from Compton. I think he's from, but I don't know. Like, but yeah, that's who I was influenced by, and
Okay.
like I was trying to wear skinny jeans like Chris Cole and cut the flap, and then I was like, wait, bro, like that's not cool. I was like. I was a kid, and I look back and I'm like, man, I was just a kid. I was just easily influenced. And when I started to realize like what I liked and like who I was starting to become like
Your own
a
self.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was like, oh snap,
that's
like
the natural maturation.
Yeah.
That's why, like, you know, you see a kid trying to imitate you, but maybe in 2 years it'll turn into his own style, which is what you want. I mean, that's how you want to.
And if not,
keep
cool.
the shit going.
I just want you to do
Right,
you
right, yeah,
either
yeah,
way,
yeah.
you know, like.
But that's how you keep the whole industry going, is
Exactly.
inspiring the next generation.
But that's why at the end of the day, like, the job that I do is very few far in between. That's why I'm thankful to be here, because like, I didn't have to be from Philly and be in the right place at the right time. Like some other kid could have did that and like been marketable too. But like somehow I'm there and like I get to skate with my friends and travel.
Well,
and like
that's cool that you appreciate that, and at least you know.
Nah, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Every
that's
day
great.
I wake up, I'm like, man, this is well, I can sit here all day and not skate, and I don't have to go nowhere. Oh, I'm skating tomorrow. Like I'm just gonna chill today.
Nothing better.
I was checking out some of the DC stuff that came out along with the capsule collection, and you know, you're so adamant about Philadelphia being the best place, you know, in the world, and it's clear how much you love the city. And you know, part of what we're doing with this show is really to talk about like what it's like to be from Philly and all the different things that are wrapped into that, and really how we all can relate to each other because of that common experience. But I'm real interested, like, what is it about being from Philly that has made, you know, you have that opportunity or like that drive to get where you've gotten to?
To answer your question, excuse me, in two different ways. I had to clear my throat. To answer your question in two different ways, basically, like, I would say one side of it and the main side of it is like, it's inspiring and it's empowering more than anything. Like, I used to be depressed. I went through a lot growing up. This city is rough, hard, and like, you go through a lot, you see a lot, and you don't know how much that impacts you growing up, right? So when you get to a point where you down and you ain't got nothing else, you cling on to everything. I'm a king. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you think I'm a king. I know I'm a king. I'm self-empowering myself. I live in the greatest city ever. My environment might be crazy, but it's still what made me. It's like, that's how I looked at it. And like, I would hope somebody feel the same about where they from and who they are. And that's how I do it. It's not about me trying to be better or my city being better. It's about me just trying to feel special about what I got.
Yeah.
And like, on top of that, the second side of that is Philly really is the best city.
Exactly.
And I really
thought
am
that
the
might
king of
be
Philly, and we really are holding it down as a whole city, and we doing what we got to do, because nobody's realer than Philly
Right.
ever. Like, because
Ever.
they don't see what we see. Every day you come here is a movie.
Yep.
And like, every day you go to bed, you survived. But at the same time, like, if you can do that in a way where you doing something positive, or you getting some money, you staying out the way, and you just trying to be a creative in any kind of way, you doing something that benefits you and others around you, bro, you winning. In my eyes,
Yeah.
like,
Philly's a tough place, man. If you can
And
make it
lot
in
of-
Philly, you can make it in.
not a lot of people can do
places.
that,
Yeah.
bro. Not a lot of people can come here and be like, ooh, I like this.
I think
Like,
you
a lot of
touched
people
on
come here and be like, ooh, I like this, but I gotta go.
Yeah, it's
Get
tough.
out of here.
I think you touched on something though that is the heart of it, right? And we were talking about LA a little bit, and like, you know, when you're in LA, the reality is everybody's from somewhere else. Everybody there is there for a particular reason, like trying to do something. And it's kind of about who you are and what you do. Philly's just not like that. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Don't nobody care who you are, what you do.
right. And I think
Are you about to be chill, or are you about to cause problems?
And as far as skateboarding goes, though, there's been a realness to Philly skateboarding that I think has made it, I don't want to say enviable, right? But like, there's a respect for how skateboarding in Philly is real, it's organic, the
I think
community is like
anyone who's come
totally
here,
real.
Anyone who's come here in the last, sorry not to cut you off, who skates or cares about any kind of creative outlet that they do, you will come to Philly and get checked.
Yep.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I don't care how good you are and what degree, someone's going to test your skill and they're going to pick your brain. And it might not be because they're hating, but because that's just how they know how to react. And they want to see how good you are.
Right.
They really want to see the talent.
Yeah.
There are some
Yeah.
guys that some of the guys that are most identified with Philly, and you can correct me on this if you know this better than me historically speaking, but you look at a guy like Kalis, right? Not from Philadelphia, right? But he came here and he put in the time, became a standout there, and then he became like part of the community. And I think that just goes to show in Philly, like, if you're real and you like stick with it and you prove to people that you got the grit, then you can be a legend here. You know what I mean? And it's not
I
just
mean, he made his career here, and like,
Right.
you know,
I think,
he got to put a lot of people on, including myself.
Yep.
So
Paved the way.
Black Thought from the Roots has one of the greatest lines about Philly ever, like how unaccepting we are of. He says when he was like, do a show in Philly, people wouldn't applaud. Nobody knows your record nor who you opening for. Meaning like nobody cares about you, or if you come in here, nobody gives a shit. You better perform well, or else you're getting booed and you're going to get tossed out easily.
And if you come with any disrespect after that, they might stomp you out.
Yeah, right. You might not leave.
So it's like, that's Philly. And like, sometimes I'm embarrassed to bring people here, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, you gotta come. It ain't my fault if something happens, because like,
you always have that.
You either gotta listen to me, or you just gotta
please,
not be that guy.
Please act right. Please
Right,
act
right.
Right, because like, I know how crazy it could be, and I know how if you say the wrong thing, ooh.
Yeah.
And sometimes,
I gotta vouch for you.
sometimes someone's earned it because they do say the wrong thing, and I'm like, you gotta remember that this guy is not gonna be like, hey buddy, like you gotta go, and he's gonna be like, hey buddy, meet me outside right now, I'm about to kill you, and like, there's a big difference. And I'm not saying that is cool or not cool. I'm just saying that's Philly.
how it is. Yeah.
That's how you have to learn how to survive. Just like if I'm going to London or if I'm going anywhere else in the world,
You gotta.
I gotta learn how to just be like, all right, cool. Shut my mouth and keep it moving. I ain't see shit, and I'm gonna go that way. Yep, I'm gonna skate, and that's all I know. I'm skating.
So, what's next for you? You know, I know you were. I think I heard you were heading out to London, maybe for an extended period. That going down this summer. Beyond that, what's next?
So in like a month, a little under a month, I'm moving to London. I don't know how long I'm going for. But I'm going.
Trip without the return ticket.
You got that one-way ticket?
I ain't even got the ticket yet. It's coming though.
That one-way ticket.
It's coming though. I'm just gonna get it. I got an apartment over there already, and
all right,
I'm just gonna go. We'll see.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Experience.
So we'll see.
Now, here's the question: are you going to be able to find? I know you're a big Federal Donuts guy, right? So you like that chicken. Are you more of a chicken or the donuts or all that?
I'm like the whole John, the whole shebang.
Yeah, we were talking before the show about how this guy doesn't look like he could put a pound on. I can't do the same.
It's all the skating.
Yeah, it's all the skating. I gotta skate more, I guess. I don't know what it's gonna
You
take.
gotta do something over there.
I gotta do a little bit more. There's no question about it. But question is like, what are you gonna be able to? London, the food, man. It's a way different program.
Yeah,
You're
it's
talking about
rough.
It's
rough, man. It's rough over there.
Fish and chips.
But I got some good peoples over there that hold me down. My man Brooks and his lady be cooking the home style meals. So I like being at their house.
Whatever that shit is.
Nah, bro, this man is a chef, man. My man Brooks be cooking.
Okay.
So he be holding it down. So I be going to their crib and being like, hey, mom and dad, what's going on? And
we'll talk to our boy Tom over at Federal Donuts. I bet he send you a nice package over there, don't you think?
Yeah, a little, what do they call it? I can't think. What they call it?
Care package?
Yeah, the care package.
Get a nice care package.
Dropping that care
Yeah.
package.
Well, listen, man, it was great having you in. We wish you nothing but the best. Honestly, a pleasure to have you on as a guest here at the City Pigeons Podcast.
Thanks, my man.
Yeah.
We hope
Nice meeting you, bro.
we're going to have to
Likewise.
check in with you again down the line because I'm sure you got lots of great things going to happen. A lot of great stories. We wish
I
you
got
nothing
a lot
but
of
the best.
questions for this young man.
A lot of questions.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we gotta
I got
get into it
answers.
later, man.
You got
I got
answers.
answers.
You got answers.